where you belong. Give it strength to carry on. Open your heart, set your mind at ease. Live your life and you'll be free. We're gonna rise, rise, rise. Keep on rising, rise, rise, rise. Keep on rising,
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Toon review. To Newcastle United 2, Arsenal 0, the review. We are into the final of the Carabao Cup. I'm doing some hosting duties tonight. Billy is joining me, so you'll have to bear with me. I've got to get all my words in the right order and sentences in the right place. I'll try my best. Welcome, everybody, this evening. If you are new, make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. You should have already subscribed as you're joining the stream. Make sure you hit the like button, whether you're new or old, irrelevant. It really does help the search results when people are looking for football and Newcastle channels on YouTube. So it really does make a big difference for us. Make sure you get your comments in if you want to have a good discussion about the game. A couple of bits to go through. Thank you very much to Mamaroo Records, the sponsor of the Toon review. There are links for them down in the description. So that is the record shop in Whitley Bay, Mamaroo Records. Please check them out. They do support the channel a lot. It definitely helps. I think that's probably about it. I'm going to say hello to you, Billy. How are we doing, my friend?
Well, Super Chats are also available by clicking the $sign, and also memberships, which is by clicking the join button and help us go to 37 a day. But good evening to all you Magpie Massive out there in Viewerland, and good evening to you, Stato.
Good evening, good evening. We've got a couple of things to discuss, but I'm going to wait for a few more people to arrive before we get to that point. I thought I'd start off just with a funny quote because I want to get your opinion on it, and we'll go through some comments as well in a quick second. Arteta on the loss to Newcastle United last night. I think he's referring to just this one loss. Of course, we've beaten them 3 times. It's hard to keep track this. We did not get what we deserved. The schedule also did not favour us. They had one day extra rest. Thoughts?
Very salty, very bitter lemon, isn't he? I've got no sympathy for him. It's never his fault. He's got very much of a victim complex, and I've got no time for it. I think they were outplayed in both games. They were outplayed in the league game at St James also. They were outplayed last year in St James, but excuses. No, I've got no sympathy for him whatsoever.
No, me neither. I think it was the time you've lost 4-0 on aggregate, right? I think that is the time where you just congratulate your opponent and you quickly move on. Even more excuses is just ludicrous. I think even the Arsenal fans getting a little bit embarrassed by it. Although I did see Matty had done a little interview with Don Robbie outside the ground, and even Don Robbie was basically saying, "Oh, I think it was a close one. I think it was always going to be whoever scored first was going to go through." We won 4-0 on aggregate. In what world was that close? It absolutely wasn't. They're really trying to do the mental gymnastics to try and make it seem like that. But let's go through some comments and say hello to everybody. I appreciate that. I think a few people thought we were starting at 7. It was scheduled in for 7:30 tonight. So we'll go through a couple of comments. I've got to scroll really far back. Everybody very, very happy with each other and the result, clearly. Let's keep scrolling. Pilor Keith, evening all. Hope we have all recovered from the celebrations. Not yet. Shock 44 Toons actually did a video on us. Well, it's getting quite funny now, isn't it? It's about time. The team, manager, coaching staff, in fact, everyone involved at the Toon and the supporters get a 10 tonight. Yeah, Billy, I think there's going to be some pretty good ratings when we do the player ratings later.
I imagine so. We've got to try and keep it as real as we can, but with the euphoric kind of results, yeah, it's going to be hard not to give all round 10s. I've got to say.
Man of the match trips, they're sorted. Well, I don't know about that. Without Paul, Billy, do we know how to run a poll?
We can't do it because we haven't got control of the YouTube.
Oh, it's on YouTube side, not StreamYard side.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
No worries. Right, we'll just have to kind of have a little, maybe a comment on stuff later. We'll try and judge it by noise in the chat. We'll have to make it work. One of those things. I do want to go through. I did see there was a super chat, so let's honor that first. Scrolling. Here it is. It is from Ike. I'll go with Ike because it sounds less like Ick. At 4 p.m. £10 super chat. Many apologies, Trips. If you're watching for what I said after Bournemouth last year, when you confronted the fans, you were priceless last night. Are you the guy that confronted Trips, or were you part of the? I mean, interesting. Let us know if you were the guy, because I think yeah. Either way, it doesn't really matter. Yeah, Trips was really important last night. I think his experience is going to be pretty handy for us for the rest of the season, Billy. Even if it's only going to be a handful of performances.
100%. Yeah, the experience, the knowledge, playing under Simeone and all our managers and World Cup semi-finals, etc. I think he's guaranteed a spot in the final if he's fit, and I think we'll need him. He's a fantastic footballer. Whether his legs have gone or not, he's still a fantastic footballer. Last night, he rolled back the years for me.
He did indeed. Anyway, right, now we've started. We're a few minutes in, and most people have rocked in. I think it is important to deliver a message. So Paul is not here this evening, as I'm sure you've noticed. We are standing in. So Paul is not very well at the moment, and he has asked me to relay that message to everyone and explain the situation. So I don't know if anybody noticed, but he did have a little bit of a funny turn during last night's stream. When it got a little bit, we all got a bit excited when that first goal that got disallowed went in, and he had what has been confirmed as a mini stroke. He has been to hospital today. Him and Susan. Susan, as she always is very on all of these kinds of things for safety. Noticed it, got it sorted. They went to hospital. He has been checked. He has got the right medication and the right plan moving forward. But it was a little bit of a scare for him and Susan specifically. And that is where we're up to at the moment. We have been in talks with Susan and Paul today. So he did have a bit of a wobble, to say the least, but they got it sorted straight away and hopefully should be fine. So he just wanted me to let everybody know that. So there you go. It is out there. Hopefully that was what you wanted, Paul. We wanted to make sure we got the right info out there. But so we don't know what we're doing from today onwards. Completely depends on Paul. So we'll keep people posted. And obviously we'll keep cracking on with what we do. So we'll let everybody know. Anyway, we'll swiftly move on. Thank you very much as well for all the wishes for Paul. I'm sure one of them's got it on. I think Paul might have gone to bed potentially, but I'm sure.
I think he has. I think he has.
Might have this on. So St. Patrick's Day, everyone, and Billy. Have you seen this today? Apparently,
yeah, I've seen it. Yeah.
We're not going to be able to take over Trafalgar Square in London for the day before the final because they're getting ready for St. Patrick's Day celebrations and it's going to be closed to the general public. What are we feeling about
that? I think the only way around it is if we wear our third kit with the green on it, and then it won't matter. Take our green and white stuff and no one knows that. Yeah. It's just unfortunate, isn't it? I don't see any kind of problem with it. With the other place in London, we can go and celebrate. Let's go and celebrate outside the King's house.
Yeah. I mean, I think part of me wants to say, sod it, we'll do what we want. And then the other part of me I think being as we are on a YouTube channel, I think we've got a bit of a platform and a voice. I think we've got to say the right thing and say, we'll have to try and respect that. Let's not try and make ourselves look silly because you know what the media are going to like. They're going to throw Geordies. I mean, I know that me and Billy aren't specifically Geordies, but it's going to throw Newcastle fans as a whole under the bus a bit if a few people make a bit of a silly of themselves. So we'll have to try and respect it as best as possible. I'm sure maybe someone, the club or somebody's got to make an alternative for us, because they are aware there's going to be thousands of people just running down south to have a big jolly. So they can't just expect everybody to, it would be dangerous otherwise. So we'll have to wait and see. I'm sure there'll be some kind of statement from the Supporters Trust or the fan, what is it called? The fan group, something.
Yeah,
somebody will most
advisory group, whatever you call them. Yeah.
That's the one. We'll speak to Pete. We'll have a word with Pete. So St. Paddy's Day having a bit of an impact on that final weekend. What are your plans, Billy, for the final?
Well, no doubt we'll be doing it on here with the live commentary and hopefully celebrating like a madman for the next 20 years.
Yeah. Of course, we all know the last final didn't go too well. No. Me and Paul were there at Wembley. This time, I'm not sure if Paul's going to be going. I don't think so. We'll see. I'm actually going to come up to Newcastle to the northeast, potentially with Ryan, one of our mods, the Canadian fella, that chappie. So we will be coming up for the whole weekend, and I have just booked the Monday off work as well today, just in case we have quite a difficult Monday, as I'm sure
an open boss tour plan potentially.
Yeah, well, I will definitely be staying. So I would much prefer personally to be up in the northeast for the final, because London, not a big fan of London. It's a bit meh. Northeast is much better. Anyway, so let's go through some of the chats. To be honest, maybe a good thing from the clone lad. Newcastle fans went too hard the night before the last final and killed the atmosphere. I thought it was okay. I was part of that crowd. I was singing as much as I could. But yeah, it wasn't St. James's Park. I know what you mean. It was. I don't know what it came across like on TV, Billy.
Obviously, I couldn't hear it because I had the commentary off. So, but it looked pretty good, I've got to say.
I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's kind of hard to gauge the atmosphere. It's a different stadium. It's a bit weird. It's odd.
I'm used to St. James's Park. Acoustics are different, aren't they, as well? And
yeah, it's weird. And all the scarves that the Glazers had bought the Man United fans for their fake atmosphere as well. Lee from NFTV suggested Hyde Park from Proudlock. Interesting. Very, very interesting. The charity day has probably not helped Paul's health. Well, potentially. I think it's the excitement of everything. You know, we're not medical professionals, so I don't really want to speculate on what could have happened there. As long as he's getting the right care, then that's all it is. So, Billy, should we have a chat about the game specifically?
Yeah, we've got another super chat in for Mike for PM. He said he wasn't at Bournemouth. There it is. I was wrongly very negative against Tripp's reaction. However, Bottom was just above Trips last night, in his opinion. There you go. Thanks for that, PM. We appreciate that.
Yeah, it's a fair point. I didn't mind him challenging that guy in the crowd because we had got like 11 senior injuries at that point. It was unheard of. It was unprecedented levels of injuries for a squad that is, you know, when it happens to Man United and they complain, well, they've spent a lot more on a much bigger squad. The dregs of our squad at that point were, well, it wasn't very good. So it had much more of an impact on us. So should we put some lineups up?
Yeah,
let's go for the Newcastle lineup. So this is how we lined up last night. We started with Dubs in goal and a back five of Trippier, Botman, Cher. Oh God, we've done it funny by numbers. Byrne and Hall. There we go. The midfield was Tonali and Bruno. And then we had Murphy, Isak, and Anthony Gordon as well. Interesting bench. No Willock. A lot of people thought maybe Willock or Miley were going to start and we were going to keep our 4-3-3 shape. That didn't happen. And of course, Livramento dropped to the bench as well, Billy. What were your thoughts on that lineup when it was announced?
Well, firstly, credit to you for announcing it before Eddie Howe did. You know, it was a fantastic bit of foresight from you. I was quite pleased with it. I was glad to see Trippier come back in. I wasn't too happy about the five at the back situation. But I did say the result is what matters, and if the five at the back goes towards that, then you've got to give him credit for it. So yeah, I mean Eddie Howe's obviously a much cleverer footballing man than I am, or will ever be. So yeah, I'll put my trust in him, and It came up trumps, didn't it? It was a fantastic bit of management, I thought.
Mm. I mean, it's something that we've tried before. I don't know if you watched. I think you did. I think you went last night and rewatched all the interviews, didn't you, after the game? Jacob Murphy had a little chat about it and explained, and Bruno specifically talked about it was the 5-4-1 setup and pressing structure that we used against Manchester United in a previous fixture. So it was something, and I know everybody was a little bit scared that it was something we weren't used to, but Bruno confirmed it's something that had been tried before. The lads understood the game plan. It was just maybe bespoke for this game. And it looks like it really worked instructionally. Everybody really knew what they were doing.
Given they only had 2 days to prepare for it as well, because they didn't start preparing for it until Monday. Yeah, phenomenal, really. Excellent piece of coaching by all the coaching staff and kind of listening to what they need to do. And every player did their job perfectly, I thought. So outstanding professionalism from all concerned, I think.
Yeah, I mean, we'll go into detail with some of the funny stuff when we do the player ratings. I don't want to instantly go into things like Fabian Schär and stuff, but the centre halves going up to join the press was funny. They didn't know what to do with it for well, I thought they would have adjusted, but the fact that we got a goal from it in the second half means they weren't well adjusted to it at all.
I mean, it makes perfect sense if you think about it in the cold light of day. It makes perfect sense because what are centre halves on the pitch to do? To tackle. And if you're pressing, who's the best? You're trying to tackle someone, aren't you? Makes perfect sense, really.
Yeah, getting that leg in, the timing. It's kind of what they're used to. Getting the block in, it's something they probably practice a lot more. So
well, just go back to Fabian Schär's goal against PSG.
Yeah, because I think he won the ball originally, didn't he? And then it got laid off before the shot.
Yeah,
no, 100%. Am I bringing the hair dye? Actually, that's a really good shout. I guess I should bring some up to the northeast, but if we win, and then the Monday we'll have to do like a special show from Newcastle somewhere. We'll see if they'll let me dye it in the stack. Who knows? Start queuing now if you want to get to the stack. Yeah, we'll see about that. We'll try our best. Thank you very much from the Ruffian Benicia, one of our mods. If you're enjoying the stream, please hit the like button and subscribe. It is free to do so. Please feel free to hit the super chat feature. I can't point to it now because I'm normally on the other side of the screen. Billy, you have to point to it. Super chat feature down below and become a member to help support the channel. Thank you very much. Murphy for England. I mean, what did you think of his interview last night, Billy? Because I thought it was so insightful. He's such a well-spoken, I was going to say young man, but I guess he's 30. But
he's a typical Newcastle United supporter who's been plunged into the team, and he's thankful for every day he has with us because he even said last night, even through the dark days, he enjoyed every second of it. It's a fantastic story, and credit to him, he's been fantastic this season. He really has, and I don't disagree. I think with the injuries we've got on that right hand side, he could get into a squad.
Credit to Mark Chapman, because we got more interesting insights from those players than I think we've had in the last 6 months from interviews and journalist questions. Mark Chapman's questions were fantastic. We got Bruno and Murphy to give us real interesting tactical insights, views on preparation. It was brilliant. What have you done personally to change things? We got so much information. For anybody who's not seen them, I would massively implore you to go watch the Murphy interview and the Bruno interview, preferably after we finished here. But yeah, they're so well spoken. Bruno's English has definitely improved even more compared to last season as well. He can really express himself a bit more deeply with sort of tactical views as well, which is cool for us to hear. Peter Garthwaite, £5 super chat. Thank you very much. Isak has reportedly said he'd rather win a cup with us than get in the Champions League. I think that tells you he's going nowhere. Yeah, I mean, if there's truth in that, Billy.
Absolutely, 100%. He looks a happy player. He just looks a happy man, doesn't he? He looks like St James's Park is his where he wants to be and where he wants to be the king of the castle. And I love it. Great. So he's the best striker in the world football at the minute, as we've said.
I mean, my position on this recently, especially going into the transfer window in January, and I was trying to explain this to people that he is only just 25. He's recently 25 as well. So people are, I think, jumping the gun a bit that he has to move now. I don't think he does. I think he can ride this wave and see if he can get it to work in a black and white shirt. And then if he can't, in 2 or 3 years, he's still going to be 27 or 28, and he can have a move if he wants it. I honestly don't feel like it's necessary right now. Do you?
No, I don't know. Absolutely not. And he's potentially still learning, and he's learning.
Yeah.
You know, his craft under a fantastic manager. So why would he leave and potentially go to someone that isn't as good as Eddie Howe? For instance, say if he went to, I don't know, let's say Arsenal. I don't think Arteta's as good a coach as Eddie Howe is. What's he going to learn there? No, I don't think so.
Well, a lot of tactical improvements and money and infrastructure, but he knows firsthand the direction we're going with a new stadium and all of the plans. A few people talking about the project falling a bit flat. I don't know if that's fair. I think it's just that it's had to be a little bit more measured in the time frame. I think that's all it is. And he's got a couple of years to push on. So anyway, Ike 4 p.m. Thank you very much for another super chat. Bring it on Liverpool for exactly your reason, Stato. At 60 years old, I feel we'll never win anything in my lifetime if we lose to Spurs. I actually feel the same way, mate. I'm terrified of playing Spurs because I think if we lose to them, we will be the banter club forever. But Billy started to convince me because Billy for the last 2 days has been saying, if we get to the final, we'll beat anybody, don't care.
I honestly believe that. I believe it's our time. I really do. And sometimes that means more than the actual football that goes on the pitch.
I don't know. You're kind of making me feel like we can. The only thing that scares me is not so much our team or the team we've got to play against. It's the stadium change. I think Wembley's terrifying.
Well,
we're not used to it. We're not very good at Wembley, are we?
Well, it's 55, and I think we've only scored once there in all the games we've played there, or twice in 74. So in 6 games, not great.
I appreciate it's a stupid thing to say because obviously you're never going to play a final in your home stadium, but I do feel like we could beat anybody in our stadium. It's just Wembley. It's one of those, but you've got to do it at Wembley if you want the cup. It's how it works. Everybody else has got to do it that way.
Really, so. it should help us. A big pitch like it is, and with our width, it should help us. But I think it will help us because I think we're going to beat whoever we play.
We'll talk a little bit about the actual game, shall we? That first goal that went in that never was. Absolutely fantastic strike. Oh, we have another super chat. Ricky Thomas, £2. Thank you very much. Let's take over Downing Street at number 10. No, we are not suggesting a political coup on the Toon review. We will stay well within the legal parameters of that.
Well, he is an Arsenal supporter, so you could actually do a bit of gloating while you were there, couldn't you?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to do a bit of meme through the fence, I mean, I think that's fine. But let's keep it at about that, just in case. So the goal that was disallowed, Billy, some interesting, emotional, elite, and then a brand new refereeing, officiating mechanic in Simon Hooper explaining the decision to the crowd in the stadium.
Which we were unaware of course, because we had the sound down. I was amazed that there was no line shown to prove that Isak was offside until 25 minutes later. Ridiculous. I thought originally it was slightly, it was borderline. I said at the time, I'm not celebrating. That could be flagged. But once I saw it a second time, I thought it might have been just on. So, but the fact they didn't bring the lines out to prove it to everyone, bit wrong in my opinion. Opened themselves up to a bit of criticism, I thought.
Yeah, I mean, I was watching it with family on Sky, and I don't remember seeing lines. People in the chat said there were lines drawn. I didn't see lines drawn.
I think it was 40 minutes when they showed it. Given the goal came in the 6th minute.
Weird, and some of our American viewers said that they got lines drawn on their channel, whatever they were watching it on channel wise. Weird, very weird, but it was disallowed. And I think massive credit has got to go to, in that moment, specifically the 11 players on the pitch, because the adrenaline dump they must have had from going 1-0 up and having it taken away, that could have been catastrophic for us if we couldn't have maintained standards. And we got to, I think it was the 17th minute? It was from a goal kick, Dubravka over the top. Isak with some fantastic physical sort of just bullying of Saliba. Gets the foot round, runs onto it, left-footed bender, hits the post. I think this is the moment that a few Arsenal fans are saying there was a hand in the build-up to that. Not at all. Not for me. It's ridiculous to even... They're just clutching at straws there. And then who else but Jacob Murphy? What a strike.
Outstanding. You know, the fact it came at him at such velocity to get his foot around it. It was slightly behind him as well. And even then he managed to hit the post, which he's fantastic at doing, but it went into the net. Just you got to remember 30 seconds before that, Martin Odegaard had hit the post from a massive chance for them. So that's where the game kind of swung for me, that minute's play. Isak did fantastic. Well, the shot from Isak, if that had gone in, you look at the goal of the season. Fantastic effort with his left foot. But then Murphy was fantastic to follow up and finish. A goal that was deserved. And yeah, I think to all intents and purposes, then I think we knew that it was game over. I don't think anyone thought that Arsenal would score 3 against us. And we deserved it. We really did deserve it.
Yeah, I don't think enough is being made of that Isak shot.
No, I agree.
So he's not left-footed. And that is... If that was his natural foot, even that is outrageous. So the fact that it was his left is just bananas. But yeah, I really liked the finish from Jacob Murphy because he did similar against Fulham as well. 2 very hard finishes to try and keep under the bar and stay composed. So really, really competent from him to get both of those in. And yeah, that put us 3-0 up on aggregate. And I was expecting Arsenal to maybe give us a bit more fight. I mean, there was a few scrambly moments in the box. We had to get bodies behind. We had to get blocks in. And we did quite successfully. I thought everybody was fairly good at putting their body on the line. Dan Burn and Sven Botman, both of them, definitely warriors, getting all the blocks in.
I just felt that Arsenal's team selection didn't make much sense. It was very much similar to when we were playing Gordon and Barnes on the widths and out of balance. Martinelli does not play on the right hand side; he's a left winger, and he was forced to play on the right because of the injury to Saka. Now they have Anwanier on the bench who's been outstanding, so they could have played him instead of Martinelli or Trossard and had the balance, but I mean they didn't, and we contained them pretty well. I thought. I think apart from the shot they hit the post, I don't recall an awful lot of them breaking us down and creating great chances.
Well, I mean, how do I get rid of this? Oh, there we go. I mean, Nwaneri came on anyway after a little while because Martinelli just got absolutely clattered. So it changed and it didn't really make much difference.
No, it didn't. No, it didn't.
So what happened then? We went half time. We managed to see it out. I think we did okay. I think they had quite a lot of corners and we dealt with them fairly well. Second half, the Anthony Gordon chance where they were messing around with it at the back and he had to try and bend it into an empty net essentially. Do you think we could have done better with that?
It's a tough chance. He's trying to. I think if he hits it straight, Raya saves it. He's got to try and bend it around him. I think he just got too much bend on it and it went wide. But again, it was the press working, wasn't it? In its entirety. Arsenal had no idea how to deal with it at all.
Well, it wasn't the only time that happened. Yeah, I do think if that had fallen to Isak, he would have scored that. I think Gordon maybe didn't have the instinctive finish, especially from that position he was in, to do a cheeky little chip or something. I think he's far more comfortable and probably practices his attacking patterns a lot more coming from the left. So it was probably a little bit of an unorthodox. He tried his best with it, but he made up for it. A few, not actually that long. I think it was only 5 or 10 minutes after half time. They were dithering around with it at the back. Raya with a really dodgy pass into Declan Rice, who was being pressed by Fabian Schär, and expertly robbed him. Anthony Gordon spins, fires it into the net. 2-0, 4-0 on aggregate. Arsenal would have had to have scored 5 goals to go through at that point, and it was done. It was done. The place was booked in London at that point, wasn't it?
100%. And I think I know lots made of the finish of Gordon, but that was clinical. It was right in the bottom corner. Even if Bray had died for it, he weren't getting it. Yeah, great finish, great instinctive finish from him. But brilliant from Fabian Schär to rob Declan Rice. And yeah, they just couldn't deal with our ferocious press, is the word I'd use. Ferocious. When we've got 3 centre backs in the team to allow one to go and press, yeah, it makes perfect sense. It really does.
Oh, there's a big one from John there. Unpopular opinion. Maybe we should sell Murphy in the summer to make the pot bigger. Oh, I don't know.
Well, he's
I
not going
don't
to be
know.
a
I feel
first
like,
choice next season, is he? Hopefully. So, having said that, the way he's playing,
well, yeah. If we do purchase a first team right winger,
we've still got to buy another one.
they don't come into the side straight away. There's no way they come into the side straight away. You can't drop Jacob Murphy right now. You would
And if
have
we
to
sell
wait
him-
for a couple of poor games.
If we sell him, we need two.
Oh yeah, exactly. So yeah, no, there's no point. You might as well keep him. We've got rid of Miggy, so yeah, squad building we've got to be careful with because Jacob Murphy's somebody who is flexible, fits the system, loves the club anyway, and actually is really good at the moment. So there's no point.
Okay.
Okay, shall we move on to some player ratings, Billy?
Yeah, let's do some player ratings.
Right. So we want everybody else's opinion on this as well. Why not? Martin Dubravka, Billy, you can go first every time.
Okie dokie. Yes, very pleased with him again. Very calm and collected. Dealt with the crosses that we were going to see loads of through the game really well. Came out and caught a corner, some good punching, couple of good saves. I'm going to give him a 9 out of 10. I thought he was brilliant.
Yeah, I agree, actually. He had to do a lot of close quarter scrambling saves, shots in the box, a lot of danger, bodies around him. It's the kind of instinctive shot stopping that you want a younger goalkeeper for, and it didn't matter to the 36-year-old Martin. He was fine. 3 saves, 2 punches, a high claim, a couple of saves from inside the box, and obviously a decent goal kick to help set up that first goal.
Yep.
So
Yes.
yeah, what did you give him, an 8 or a 9?
9.
I think I'll go with a 9 as well, to be fair, because he contributed in an offensive manner as well. So yeah, 9 definitely is fair for him. I was saying last night as well, if he can help us win a cup, then all is forgiven.
Yes,
All.
absolutely.
I think you were saying last night about chucking his other winners medal away if he gets one with us.
Yeah, down in the Thames, straight in the Thames, with his fingers up.
Yeah, for anybody who doesn't know, Martin Dubravka does actually have a Carabao Cup winners medal from when he was at Manchester United. So he's never, ever been able to talk about it, post it, because he'd get slaughtered for it. But he has got one. So wouldn't it be nice if he can win one that he can be proud to show off?
Absolutely.
So hopefully he can right that wrong. Should we go left back, right back? We'll go Lewis Hall first.
Okay. Yeah, I thought he was solid. Just solid performance. He's a really, really calm and collected player. I thought he did some really good stuff defensively. Got caught out a couple of times, but not very often. Helping Gordon as well in the attack. I enjoyed his performance. I'll give him an 8.
Yeah, I think this is one of the players that it's hard to give them as high a mark. I think he got a little bit unlucky yesterday. I think there were a couple of issues where we would try a clearance or a pass and it just ricocheted to an Arsenal shirt. I think they got a little bit lucky on a few rebounds and ricochets.
I agree.
And that didn't make Lewis Hall look fantastic in a couple of moments that I don't think were overly his fault. There was one error leading to a shot, but his duels were pretty spot on. Again, 3 out of 3. He was up against Martinelli officially on that side, and Martinelli had to go off. And I thought he did pretty well. He got 2 accurate crosses, 2 accurate long balls, 2 key passes. The only thing I was a bit annoyed with him about is he had 2 opportunities to try and sling it in for Callum Wilson, who was in the 6-yard box later on in the game. He just didn't do it. So I felt a little bit sorry for Callum, but it is what it is. I'm going to give Lewis Hall, I'll give him a 7.5, I think.
He definitely won the battle of the young left backs, though, didn't he? No doubt about that.
Oh yeah, all the media hype about Lewis Skelly. Nah, it's all Lewis Hall. The media just can't help it. They want Robinson from Fulham and Lewis Skelly. They're not willing to put the praise on Lewis Hall, who is England's left back at the moment, I believe.
Yeah.
Other side, Kieran Trippier.
Well, this is the first 10 of the evening. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. Rolled back the years defensively, leadership, experience, all of the things you want from Kieran Trippier. He was fantastic. He really was. Absolutely outstanding. The attitude was absolutely exemplary. Brilliant.
What was the mark?
10. 10, 10, 10, 10.
I've got to agree with you. I'd probably give him a 10 just for the attitude, to be fair, because it was funny and it was necessary in a game like this. I appreciate that my personal view is to have a team of nice guys who are just very good at football, like your N'Golo Kantes and Messi's. I prefer those characters to your Ramoses. But sometimes in a game like this, you need a guy like Kieran Trippier, and he's been around the block. He doesn't like Arsenal anyway. You know, he was a Spurs lad for a long time. And he was not giving him a moment's peace. He was in the rear every 5 minutes. 8 clearances, monstrous. 2 block shots, an interception, 3 tackles. Was fouled a couple of times. His only foul was the one where he pinched Gabriel a little bit and left some afters on him as well. Yeah, exemplary. 10. Absolutely fantastic. And if he can stick around for the rest of the season to just contribute with experience and rotation, because I think we can all agree, I think Livramento's still learning as much as we like him. He's not the finished product yet.
I agree.
So Kieran Trippier 10s. Oh God, I'm gonna have to write this down, haven't I? I haven't got a pen because Paul normally puts it in his book. It's fine.
He'll watch it again, won't he? And
it's fine. We'll have to go back and note them down.
100%.
Centre halves. We'll start with Dan Burn.
Yes, another fantastic performance from Dan Burn. Another one with leadership and attitude, and just loved the battle, didn't he? Pressing as well, threat from corners, defending corners as well. I'll give Dan Burn a 9.
Got some stats for you. Got a little quiz. 4 ground duels contested, 3 aerial duels contested. So that's 7 total. How many do you think he won out of the 7?
Well, it's either crap or fantastics. Which way I'm going to go? 7.
All of them. Yeah.
He
won every single duel on the ground and in the air. He was absolutely brilliant. 5 clearances, 4 tackles, a couple of interceptions. He blocked a shot. He put his body on the line, even got a key pass. He did only make 11 accurate passes in that game, which for a centre half is tragically low. That is really tragic. 11 passes. But that wasn't what we were about in that game yesterday. So the bit that was important, which is stopping the highest goal scoring from corners team from doing a corner. I mean, he was just on Gabriel. I don't know if you noticed, Billy, that he was, whenever they were lining up for corners, he was just eye staring at Gabriel, waiting for him. And it was quite amusing. Dan Burn, I'm going to go with a 10, to be honest. Because I think from the set piece, defensive set pieces and physicality, I don't think he could have done any better than that. I think he maxed out every situation. Maybe the foul. Do you remember when they just missed? He actually did a foul in the build-up. That's probably the only situation that I wasn't overly happy with. But I mean, we want him to go for the ball, so I'm happy he tried.
Yeah,
but I'm going to go for a 10. I thought it was fantastic from Dan Burn. Sven Botman.
No, I'm going to give him a 10 because he's hardly had any football, and to make that kind of performance where he's blocking and tackling and making last-ditch tackles, he did it time and time again. Thought it was outstanding. 10 out of 10.
So he actually played slightly less football than a couple of the others. Came off on the 80th minute. 10 clearances. Ludicrous again. 6 aerial duels contested. All 6 won. So Big Sven and Dan Botman. Oh God, we've Dan Botmaned again. Big Sven and Dan Burn. I can't say them together. I genuinely can't say them together. Both of them were just man mountains. They just couldn't get through them at all. And I think it actually excelled. It helped Fabian Schär a little bit as well. But yeah, I want to give Botman a 10 because I just think he was unplayable. They could not get past him. The amount of times they tried to get to a byline and he just went, nope, sorry. They couldn't get past him. By the way, there was a little scare that he was injured. Apparently he was taken off because of a bit of a knee agitation. That has been cleared up. Apparently is fine, but he's going to be monitored. So it's not a reoccurrence or a re-injury of what he'd done previously, but it looks like we've got to be careful with this because he's an incredible player. He's the kind of player you do have in a title-winning team. I genuinely think he's that good.
Yeah,
so we need to keep him fit because he's a big piece of the puzzle for us in the next 5 years. So we've got to really make sure we don't break him. Fabian Cherbilly.
I remember one really poor pass he made in the second half, but apart from that, I thought again he was exemplary. And of course, key for the second goal. I'll give him a 9.5.
9.5, yeah. I mean, I feel like I can't give him less than the other two because he helped with a goal.
Yeah.
I'm going to go for a 10 as well because we told him to go and do something completely different and he did it so well. I feel like just for that, the pressing was fantastic. He's credited with an assist from robbing Declan Rice. And considering I think he's been quite poor this season overall, I think last night he stepped up and he was a lot better. I've just seen a comment there. If I can find it. Where's it gone? It was from Harry Foster. Noticed a stat last night that Sky brought up after Neville said we don't want to give away corners. We've faced 165 this season, conceding only 1. Yeah, so that stat popped up, Billy, halfway through the second half, I believe. So it's probably a bit more than 165 now.
Yeah.
But that one that we have conceded, funnily enough, and you know this already, is Lloyd Kelly, who's not even at the club anymore.
Yeah, against West Ham, yeah.
So technically, there is nobody left at the club who has contributed to us conceding from a corner this season. So yeah, I don't know why why the commentary was asking for corners because we're pretty good at swatting them away. Should we move into midfield?
Let's do so.
Should we go with Sandro?
Yeah. I thought he had a good game. I thought he was a calm, disciplined game. Gave the ball away a couple of times, as I remember, but generally was where the ball was, which was key for us. His physical abilities, his pace, and his energy was key for us. I'll give him an 8.5.
I think that's fair. I don't think he was as impactful visually as other players, but I don't think that means his role wasn't important or necessary. Just the calmness and the physicality was so integral, and him being in the right place. I think we forget how old he is as well, because I think he's only is he just turned 24? Is he still 23? For him to play, he plays like a veteran, like with his positioning and his reading of the game. I think we really forget how young Sandro still is. He's he's considerably younger than sort of Willock and Isak. It's crazy. I think it's testament to how much he can adapt his game. He can either be very on the ball, loads of passing, loads of influence, or he can be a bit more Longstaffy in that he'll just sit off the ball and just be crazy disciplined with loads of physicality. He can switch his game to, or he can just go on the run down either wing. Like he'll play whatever is needed of him in that sort of state. Yeah, I think 8.5 is fair. I'm going to join you with that. Bruno.
Yeah, I thought he was slightly better. I thought he was more visual. I think with the eye, he looked to do more than what Tonali did with the ball at his feet. Just a menace for the Arsenal midfield. Got himself booked, just to put himself about. But bringing the ball out of defence, he wouldn't have so many free kicks. I'll give him a 9.
Yeah, I feel like I'm copying you tonight, but I don't want to go with a 10 because I think the tackle that got him booked was disgusting. There was no need for it. And he's risking getting himself sent off doing things like that. So he's got to be careful, and we need him in the final. Yeah, I think a 9's fair. Attitude, fantastic. The fact he was juggling the ball, yeah, loved it. Absolutely loved it. Pure, unadulterated filth from Bruno Guimaraes to take the mick that much for just juggling the ball. Who does that to Arsenal? Nobody. He's great. He's absolutely great. It reminds me. Was it his debut when he nutmegged somebody near the corner flag? Was it like
against Everton, wasn't it?
Like that?
Yeah.
It reminded me of that a little bit. It's like he just puts everybody plays such disciplined football, and then he just puts a little bit of spice on it because it's just who he is. It's just magical. We need people like that at the club. It's something that we lost when we lost a few of our dribbly technical players, and it's nice to have Bruno to do a little bit of showing off sometimes. Was fouled 5 times. I think that took a lot of the pressure off. It helped in important moments. But yeah, I'll go with the 9. I think what are people in the chat saying? A lot of people saying 10s, to be fair. 9.5s. Yeah, it's about right. Anthony Gordon on the left.
Worked his socks off, didn't he? He was a threat. He scored. He should have scored another one. He helped contribute towards the first goal also. And yeah, at times I thought he didn't look himself, but then he came into his own and really did push on. I'll give Anthony Gordon. I'm going to give him a 9.5.
9.5. Before I rate Gordon, I am just going to click on if I can find it. There was a 99p super sticker from Ray Fagan that I wanted to say thank you for. I just can't find it anymore, but it was there. We've got have we got Paul Geordie's here? Paul Geordie as well. A £5 super chat. We love you, Paul. Get better, mate. You're a legend, mate. You stay strong. I'd say thank you, but it's not for me. That's for Paul. I'm sure he will see this. Thank you very much, Paul Geordie, for the support. I'm sure he will appreciate it. Have I missed any more, Billy?
No, if you look at Star next to Live Star, they're all in there. Top of the chat.
See, I'm learning. There we go. Fantastic. Thank you for that. Cheeky little trick. Anthony Gordon. What did you go for?
I'll give him a 9.5.
Give him a 9.5. See, I'm listening to your descriptions and not the numbers. We will go for Anthony Gordon. We'll go for a 9.5. I think he was nearly as unplayable as Alexander Isak. I think Gordon, this is really good for Gordon's football because he's going under the radar a little bit because all the attention is on Alexander Isak. And Gordon's just able to work hard and keep getting goals and assists and work on himself and his game and helping us. And he's a fantastic professional as well. I don't think that stay humble comment in his interview, by the way, was intended because there was no smirk. There was no change in his facial expression. He said that before, and I think he's just saying it again. I don't think he realized what he was saying. I genuinely don't think that was banter on his part. I think he was just being honest in that we want to stay humble because we want to win the final. But it's still accidentally funny, wasn't it? Ideally, he could have had at least a couple of goals, but he got his one, which was important. It's helped us win. He was almost like a terrorist on that left-hand side. They were just, him and Isak specifically were contributing to their anxiety as a defensive unit. They couldn't handle him, I don't think. So yeah, 9.5.
I mean, 2 in the tie. Let's be honest, he scored down at the Emirates as well. So a big reason why we're actually through.
Yeah, definitely. I think going under the radar, especially from the national media. Jacob Murphy, who again also going under the radar a bit, maybe getting a bit of more attention nowadays.
Yeah, he got a lot of praise last night, and rightly so. From an attacking point of view, didn't do a lot apart from the goal, I've got to say, but defensively he was fantastic helping Trippier. Work rate, but the goal itself, what a finish, outstanding finish. That big smile came on his face once again. I'm going to give Murphy a 9.5 also.
I'm going to give him a 10. I'm going to go one more, purely because of who he is and where he was as a footballer. And I know people are going to hate this, and I'm sorry. We're supposed to be rating it specifically on this match. But I think we're at that point now where he's improved himself so much. And I think that finish was so impressive. He helped open the scoring, and that was vital. That was a vital moment of the game. And I can ignore other bits of him maybe not being involved. That finish wins us the game and sorts the tie out. So 10 all day long, 10. If we were able to do a poll, which we'll sort one out at some point, we'll speak to Paul. I would have put a poll up now, and I'd like to know your opinion on this, Billy. Is Jacob Murphy currently going through a very long purple patch, or is this just Jacob Murphy reaching the peak of his career, and this is who he is as a footballer at the moment?
It's a tough one, isn't it? No, I believe he is. He's clever. He's a clever footballer, and now he's got the players around him that kind of on a similar wavelength. I think you've seen the best of him.
I don't know either. I'm giving you the hard question, and I've not got an answer for you myself. I don't know. What do we think in the chat, guys? Do we think it's a purple patch? Do we think it's... I think he's reached his peak. I think this is his peak. I think physically, intelligence, experience, I think he's got a good blend of everything currently. I think we need to ride this Murphy wave as long as we possibly can.
He's really, really clever, though, isn't he? He's got an eye for a pass that some players just don't see. You know, and I don't think we've seen that from him in his first 3 or 4 years at the club, because he didn't have players around him that would be in them positions like Alexander Isak does get into. I think he's a fantastic footballer. I really do.
I mean, he mentioned in his own interview after the match that he thinks he's been in really good form at the back end of last season as well, and he's carried this through. He just wasn't being picked straight away at the start of the season because Eddie was messing around trying different options at right wing. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what we can keep going. We need obviously the man of the moment with no goal, but it feels like he did score, but I guess he didn't. Alexander Isak.
Yeah, it's getting 10 for me. I've never seen Saliba and Gabriel have such a difficult time with the one centre forward as what he's given them last night and in the previous leg. Unbelievably fantastic performance. Deserved the goal at least. That shot that created Murphy's goal was an outstanding effort. And he just had him on toast all night. And yeah, he's no doubt, in my mind, the best centre forward in world football at this precise moment in time.
I agree. I agree completely. I think he is the best striker in the world at the moment. I think 4, 5, 6 weeks ago, we were thinking it, but we didn't really want to say it because, you know, there's a lot of good strikers out there. But yeah, I agree. 10 out of 10 for last night, and I do think he's the best as well. I mean, who have we got in Europe at the moment? You've got Lewandowski still performing at a high level. You've got Erling Haaland. You've got Kane at Bayern. I feel like Isak maybe isn't contributing to quite as many goals as some of those players, which maybe is the metric. But I feel like his all-round play is better. The running the channels, playing as a winger as well. He can hit one from 30. He can chip it. He can do all the skills left and right. He can head it. He's got a bit of everything, right? You don't see Harry Kane sort of fake Rabonaing people and chipping it in the back of the net. It doesn't happen. I genuinely do. I think he's the best in the world as well. Right. Substitutions. We were actually able to use some. So 80th minute, we had Emil Kraft and Joe Willock come on. Do you want to do both?
I think they both get sevens. I thought probably Emil Kraft contributed a little bit more because I think defensively he slotted in nicely. Willock did a lot of running around, but he was in a bit of a foreign position for him on the right-hand side. However, I did think he did kind of press a little bit and do a bit defensive work. So I'll give them both sevens.
I think that's fair. I think I'm going to go with the same. I think sevens is fair, but arguably Kraft maybe did a little bit more in terms of the game contribution, especially defensively. Willock, out on the right. He's not quite as used to that, but important players for us. Both of them are. So because we're potentially going to need players, especially if Botman's a bit sore. So we could do with players being available. Sean Longstaff and Callum Wilson came on for Tonali and Isak. I said to you last night when we were recording the Patreon, I know we're all a bit upset with Callum for his unavailability, but it was very nice to see him back.
Yeah, 100%. I don't think he touched the ball, but I'm going to give him an 8 anyway. And I'm going to give Longstaff an 8 as well, because I think he did a couple of nice things too in the midfield on the left-hand side there. So both 8s.
I'm going to go a little bit lower. I'm going to go for a 7 for Callum because I don't think there was much, but I don't think anybody really fed him anything. So that's kind of not his fault. Sean, I'll give a 7.52 because there were a couple of duels and rough and tumble moments he came out on top of, which really important for us at that point in the game, just to make sure we monitor it. You know, even though we were going to win, you don't want to concede. You want to keep a clean sheet. You want to keep the momentum. Lewis Miley, I think, only came on for 3 or 4 minutes. I don't think he touched the ball. No, he didn't. Not at all. He didn't even touch it once. So, yeah, probably no mark for Miley. I guess a token. No, not even a token. He was on for 4 minutes. Eddie Howe and the coaching staff.
Well, I think each and every one of them get 10 out of 10, and I'm going to do something and break a habit of a lifetime and give Jason Tyndall a 10 as well, because to be able to defend them set pieces that Arsenal are kind of one-dimensional with was phenomenal also. So Eddie Howe 10, Jason Tyndall 10, all and sundry that sit on the bench 10. Brilliant.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Defensive set pieces. He had the bottle to change it and do what he think was going to work. With the 5-4-1 and the structure that he used against Man United previously. Yeah, easy 10s. Do we feel like maybe Eddie deserves the benefit of the doubt that he's going to get some things wrong tactically and some things very right tactically? He's still learning, quite a young manager.
Absolutely. I mean, he still does make the same mistakes now and again, but not the positives far outweigh the negatives for me. And he's going to get better. I think this Champions League campaign of last season has really helped starting his tie, and I think he's learned from that and won the tie convincingly against a side who are in the last 16, last 8 of the Champions League, and may have ambitions of winning it. So, yeah, brilliant bit of management from me.
Yeah, there were a lot of people obviously around early December when we were still, what was it, late November, early December, when we were really struggling. A lot of people saying that even though Eddie Howe can sort things out, he's not the manager long term for us. He's not experienced or technical enough. He's not good enough to take us to that next level. For people who did think that, I'm curious to know what your opinions are now, because he's managed to steady the ship with a 9-win streak and get us to another cup final within a 3-year period. As well as that, he's had no first team incomings for 2 windows.
Yeah.
He's got to have some credit. You know, is he going to get things wrong? Absolutely. But I think he's quite a young manager still, for all things considered. And as long as we keep seeing a bit of progression, does it matter? It's not going to go perfect, but I feel like this is a lot safer than anything else. And I feel like it's a very tight-knit group as well. We've got no attitude problems either. It works well. We'll just have to wait and see what Paul Mitchell can do with the summer window, because hopefully we've saved enough biscuits up now to go and do something, because it's been a couple of windows with sod all. I've just got to say, while everybody's here, because it's been a while since we've done a little call for this, so make sure you do hit the subscribe button. Make sure you like as well. It does help the channel massively. Thank you to Mamaru Records. That is hard to say, isn't it? Mamaru Records, fantastic name. For the shop in Whitley Bay, who proudly sponsors the Toon Review. So please make sure you click the link down in the description to go and check them out. They really do help us, so it is much appreciated. Thank you for all of you for joining and watching. Thank you to all the mods as well. We're not leaving just yet, but I just wanted to make sure we said thank you to everybody. I've got to do my bit. We will have to let you know about shows coming up and what the plan is, because I don't know as of yet. So we'll sort something out. We'll make sure things are scheduled up in advance on YouTube so you can see. Make sure you turn your notification bells on you subscribe so you get notified, and check social media as well, because we'll post stuff on there. So we'll try and make sure that people know. Wembley, Billy.
Yeah.
So our squad a couple of years ago, do you know what our starting front three was?
In the match against Manchester United? Maximan, Wilson, and Murphy.
Miggy.
Almiron, yeah.
Is swapping that for Anthony Gordon and Murphy with Isak starting, is that enough to be the difference on its own, do you think?
It's not just that. You've got Tonali behind as well, haven't you? That fits in. You know, we're a better side now than we were then, in my opinion.
And Dan Burn is not going to be the left back this time.
100% Lewis Hall as well. So, yeah. And Dubravka Pope in goal, of course, as well. So
not Karius.
I honestly believe, and I've been saying it for quite a while, that this cup's ours this year.
I think that's a good note to leave it on. I'm getting convinced. We need to go and obviously watch the Tottenham and Liverpool game and go and see.
One second, I need to kind of redress this. Billy Bob thought he should go not that long ago. Yes, I did, because I don't think he was learning from his mistakes. However, since then, and Liverpool have taken the lead, by the way, against Spurs. Oh, might be disallowed though. Since then, he has shown he has learned and got one on a 9-game winning streak. So of course, I think that. You know, I felt he deserved criticism at the time, but since then he's improved his game, and we've benefited from it. So People keep saying this about. I did say this a few weeks ago. Well, football's about the here and now, and he's proved himself for me now.
I mean, you did say at the time, because I stayed in the in camp, but I was always asking you, what would it take for you to get back on the in camp? Then you explained yourself, and it's happened. So you're allowed to then. It's pretty normal, right? I think it's healthy to be open-minded about these things. It's good to be able to change your mind and learn from things. And I could have been completely wrong. Eddie might have bottled it. You don't know with these things. You can never be spot on. We just have a couple of super chats to read out before we disappear. William Emery, thank you very much for your $9.99 super chat. Quick recovery, Paul. Sorry to hear about your illnesses. Here's my contribution to celebrate my 2 years as a member. I'm almost 68. Andrew's never seen us win a domestic cup, not even the Zen Data.
Yeah, that was a cup from the 80s, as an If Data Cup.
That's definitely before my time. I have no idea what that is.
It was an extra cup competition.
I'll take your word for it. Yeah, I mean, I was explaining to somebody at work that there are people who are alive now who are collecting pensions that have got no recollection of us winning anything important at all, and it's absurd for a club of this magnitude. So it's got to be our time. It really has to be. Yeah, thank you very much for the super chat, and hopefully Paul sees all of this. We will obviously pass this information on. We do have another 99p super sticker from Ray Fagan. Thank you very much for dropping that again. Much appreciated for your support. We are going to cap it there. We're going to cap it with we're going to win the cup. We will be back soon. We'll let you know with some notifications. Thank you everybody for watching. Thank you Mamaroo Records. Thank you Billy. Thank you viewers. Thank you mods. Thank you everybody. Goodbye.
Here we come, Wembley, away the lads and lasses.
Come back and check out the green.